Hello everyone. Let's be honest, we all hate cleaning up. But we love watching others do it. In today's video, we'll show you a deep cleaning of the most neglected and surprising things. Swimming pools, paintings, solar panels, and system units. They'll all be as good as new. Let's get it on. To some, washing house roofs might seem absurd, but you're probably not going to argue that clean tiles in this video look 100 times better than the dirty ones, are you? This, by the way, is a special device developed by the German Aquajet company, a kind of washing vacuum cleaner for the roof. Oil is one of the most insidious substances and is very hard to get rid of, especially when it comes to oil spills on the ocean and sea surfaces.
The fear now is that the vessel will break up, spilling the remainder of its cargo.
They have to come up with a relatively cheap, effective, and eco-friendly method for cleaning them up in the United States, a special powder that can absorb up to 10 times of its own weight. But most importantly, it's very easy and safe to collect because it sort of traps the oil inside it. Such powder is made from polysulfides and other polymers. Here's how the process of cleaning up water from oil looks like in miniature. Ships must be cleaned both above and below water. Their cleanliness directly affects the speed of their movement and consequently their fuel consumption, the same as with airplanes. If the bottom of the hull is not clean for a long time, it becomes overgrown with whole colonies of algae and other marine organisms, and the ship loses up to a third of its speed. It's also very important to thoroughly clean the propellers to keep them working too. Special robotic machines are used for all of that. They have hundreds of small brushes and also use the method of hydrocavitation, cleaning by outputting a jet of water. The hydraulic power of such devices is so high that they can remove even the worst sort of dirt. Any other person would have just thrown away this poor pair of sneakers, but this guy's not afraid of anything, not even of cement stuck to his shoes. And for good reason. Look at what he's managed to accomplish with hot water, detergents, tweezers, and a brush. And here's what the cleaning of an ancient revolver that's almost completely covered in rust looks like. First, the weapon is placed in a special solution to get rid of the corrosion. After that, a long and painstaking process of disassembling, turning off, and working on each of the parts begins. Surprisingly enough, particularly dirty objects made of metal, stone, and glass are cleaned using sand. Moreover, this method is even used to clean human teeth. Sand or a special powder is sprayed with a powerful airstream. By the way, the same technology is used to clean off the top layers of paint from cars. Metal is often cleaned with another spectacular method, laser cleaning. The advantage of this technology is that it doesn't come into contact with the material, and so does not damage the fragile surfaces. It's also extremely accurate. Here is an amazing fact that you might not have known. Modern aircraft are repainted every 7 to 8 years. This Airbus A380, for example, was repainted by a team of as many as 34 specialists. It took 6,000 man-hours, and over a ton of paint was spent on it. First, the old coating is washed off with a solvent. After that, the aircraft is covered with several layers of primer, spray paint, and a clear coat. It is because of the latter that the airplanes have to be repainted every few years. The thing is, because of the temperature swings, the shiny layer cracks, and flying flying on an aircraft with damaged coating is strictly prohibited. It's just not safe. Sometimes repainting is necessary when the aircraft is sold to another company. Moreover, of course, airplanes are regularly washed, a couple of times a month if they're actively used. They even invented such modern machines with rotating cleaning brushes for that. Without them, the manual washing process takes much longer, from 4 to 8 hours. By the way, planes are washed not only for the sake of aesthetics. Dirt on the surface of the aircraft increases fuel consumption and negatively affects the aerodynamics. It's scary to even imagine what was going on in this pool, but it doesn't matter. Even such a disaster can be fixed. First, all the dirty water is pumped out of the pool. Then they wash the floors and release the frogs from captivity, if there are any, like in this case. After that, they remove the liner from the walls and the floor, if there is one, and clean everything underneath it. God, it feels like we could smell it even through the screen. It all ends with a new liner being stretched over the dried concrete, water being poured, and the pool looking as good as new. Trust us, if you disassemble your keyboard, you could find a whole bunch of natural resources inside. For example, a lonely grain of rice was lost in this one. By the way, the system unit can also collect lots of dust. But it's so nice to see that even such lost causes can get a fresh look.
Here we go.
Special equipment like tractors, of course, work in extreme conditions. But that doesn't mean that they don't need a thorough cleaning from time to time. It took a whole bunch of tools to clean this vehicle: a vacuum cleaner, brushes, rags and hoses. But what a shining result. Have you ever wondered how much harmful stuff there is in the air we breathe in? Of course, there are air ducts in many houses that are supposed to help with that, but they're cleaned quite rarely. Meanwhile, what might be hiding inside is this. Piles of dirt, grease and dust, as well as mold and bacteria. Long story short, a real paradise for all sorts of infections. Air ducts are usually cleaned mechanically. Special large brushes, steel cables or compressed air are used for that. Well, and here is the result. In China, there are special maintenance centers for trains, like car washes, but just a lot cooler. Everything is controlled by a computer too. They even use a special shampoo with a certain level of acidity so as to not damage the coating. By the way, several tons of water are used during the train washing, which are then cleaned and used again. Sometimes additional procedures are necessary, for example removing the graffiti drawn by vandals. A special cleaning solution is used for that. It's first left on the surface of the train for 5 to 10 minutes and then washed off with hot water. Who knew that it would be so pleasant to look at the restoration of old paintings? Masters usually remove dirt and yellowed varnish from the surface of the painting to give it a fresh look, but before that, they remove the canvas from the stretcher and thoroughly clean it. All sorts of stuff accumulates there over the years. After that, special solutions are applied to the canvas to soften and straighten it and to avoid any creases. Sometimes the canvas is also carefully sewn together on the backside in places where it has begun to slightly sag. And finally, the picture is put back on the stretcher and covered with one layer of varnish. Paint is added to the places where it's needed, and the painting is covered with one final layer. Sometimes the process is even more complicated. For example, when the picture is badly damaged and its layers have to be looked at under X-rays. Cleaning such devices by hand would not only be very inconvenient, but also very unsafe. That's why robotic machines are usually used for washing wind turbines. They deal with the grease no worse than the most qualified cleaners. The work of these gadgets is controlled by the operators from a booth nearby. A serious car needs a serious car wash. You definitely need more than 1 ton of water to clean such a giant haul truck until it's shiny. Devices for generating electricity from sunlight are fragile things, so they need to be cleaned very carefully. They even came up with a special machine for that in Germany. It can quickly and effectively clean solar panels, even from desert sand, with the help of quickly spinning brushes. However, more traditional cleaning methods are used as well. Hey friend, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That'd make us happy and help you learn new stuff.